Hello there. What is going on, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Awesome Gaming News, a new series where we focus on positive and uplifting gaming news for tabletop gaming around the spectrum. We're going to be looking at some really cool upcoming announcements and uplifting and positive news today, and things that I particularly think are very, very cool. Also, there's a new round of the giveaway, and we're doubling it in the name of positively and positivity, both tivoli and tivity. We're going to double the giveaway. So instead of a $25 Amazon gift card, this is going to be for a $50 Amazon gift card. If you just be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos, you'll have a chance to enter to win that. That's going to run through Halloween of this year, this being 2024, so you have plenty of time to enter to win that, especially since most games and gaming expansions are getting more and more expensive. We're going to rise up with that challenge, and especially since some of the first games that we're going to talk about today, these expansions are around the $44, $45 price range. A $50 Amazon gift card should help you get something of your choice. And we're going to talk about Star Wars Legion. And if you guys haven't already noticed, we have done a set change today. We're trying out some different things. We're still going to be talking about Star Wars on the channel, but there's a little bit of an uptick with Star Trek. So I'm going with the Star Trek bridge today. But yes, Star Wars Legion has a couple of really cool announcements, well, at least new products that are coming out soon. So we are going to be getting the Riot Control Squad as well as the Rebel Sleeper Cell. These both have been in previews lately, and they're going to featuring kind of larger amounts of miniatures that normally come with a normal box. So you're getting a little bit less when it comes to the variety of how you can build them, primarily because they're just saying we'll throw everything in. Again, much larger. You're getting one special forces, one core, but they're going to have a lot more dudes. Riot Control being more with that melee focus. You're getting those stormtroopers with the shields, and the Rebel Sleeper Cell being more of those guys from Andor. This is kind of like, originally they were called Rebel Saboteurs, but then, as a lot of people had pointed out, hey, there's already a unit in the game called Saboteurs. So it's nice to see that that Atomic Mass Games listened to the feedback and said, you know what, it will confuse people if we release it under this name. So they renamed him to Rebel Sleeper Cell, which makes a lot more sense. And you have a wide variety of different miniatures in here, different alien types for the Rebels, some new Stormtrooper types, and I've seen some of these models close up. They are really, really nice looking. And of course, we'll be doing unboxings of these and putting them together and doing some painting when these come out as well. So they look like they're going to be very, very cool. And it's nice to see the Rebels and the Empire getting some new stuff. I feel like Empire's had a lot of new stuff, but I feel like Rebels haven't had as much. And it's just nice to see new models, new kits come out, and also stuff from some of the more recent stuff. I know Andor was a big hit with a lot of people, so it's cool to see that. Plus, with the Riot Control, it's like, hey, are these from video games? Are we going to get Cal Kestis? There's a whole lot of speculation that could come with that, and maybe that's something else I can do for another video, because it's always fun to speculate on future stuff coming out to games that we love. Moving forward, if you are a old school fan of card games, especially if you may remember Marvel's Overpower from the 1990s, well, that game had kept going long after it had been kind of sunsetted, and that is certainly a theme of today, that a lot of games that I love and that a lot of you love have been sunsetted or are being sunsetted, and it's asked a lot of people the question of, hey, is there hope? Is there real hope for these games to get picked back up or to keep going with the community? Well, this is very good news for fans of the game Overpower. It is coming back, although it's not going to be Marvel Overpower, at least not right away, although potentially, you know, who knows what will happen in the future. But yeah, Overpower is coming back to Kickstarter on October 15th. And while it's not going to feature comic book licenses like it had some Marvel, I believe Image and DC as well, back in the 90s and when it had come out, it does have different themes, things like Greek gods and like Sherlock Holmes and Tarzan and John Carter and Zorro and things like that. So it's got different licensed stuff. So it's going to still feature some of the same gameplay and that same that same feel that players who had played Overpower will be into. but your licensing will be a little bit different. But that's a really cool thing, especially for fans who are gonna like looking for that nostalgia rush. I know personally, if I could pick any game to come back from the 90s, I would want that Star Trek CCG by Decipher, and possibly also the Star Wars CCG by Decipher to come back. Those were popular games. I played those pretty heavily. I still have some of them, although I did kind of, a couple years ago, I did kind of purge a lot of my old card game collections, and I kind of regret doing that. But still, it is cool to see old games coming back in. Let me know if you ever played Overpower down in the comments section below. Now, let's talk about one of my favorite franchises, especially that I got into in the 1990s. Actually, I think I got into in the 1980s, to be fair. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is coming to your tabletop in a new form. Ninja Turtles have been licensed from a couple of different companies, but Unmatched Restoration Games is bringing Unmatched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to your tabletop in an Unmatched Adventures box that is coming to Kickstarter on October 1st. So first off, if you're not familiar with Unmatched is a very cool battle game. It is a card-driven miniatures game where you're moving figures around on the board, battling other figures from all kinds of different licenses. It's sort of an everything versus everything. You could do mythology characters, you can do literature characters, there's Marvel characters, you can have like Daredevil versus Ninja Turtles and all kinds of cool stuff like that. So Unmatched is doing really cool licensed content, but this is Unmatched Adventures. And this is using the same Unmatched system, but in this box there will be some type of cooperative missions, some type of cooperative functionality here where you can play 2 players working together, up to 4 players working together, or even standalone. I believe there's a solitaire mode, although it's cited to work best with 2 players. It's also supposed to have crossover compatibility with regular Unmatched, so if you wanted to just take your Ninja Turtles and play them in regular Unmatched, you could do that as well. And so that's a very cool thing. This is one that I personally will be planning to back and check this out because, hey, I'm a big Ninja Turtles fan. Ninja Turtles and Thundercats are like 2 of my favorite childhood franchises, so like anytime something comes out with those, it's just like, okay, you have my attention, my ears perk up like a little puppy dog. So very excited to see it, and I love the style, I love the art style. They're going very recognizable Ninja Turtles, very recognizable Shredder there on the other side, so I'm very eager to see all of this stuff now. And also Restoration Games is a very established company, so it's sometimes there's some questions about like, well, Kickstarter, am I really going to get what I back for? And with Restoration Games, you can definitely count on getting that. So this one is very exciting to me. Again, Unmatched, if you have never played Unmatched, it's based on the old Star Wars Epic Duels game, which is one of the classic grail games for a lot of people. It's a wonderful game of just pick any character, pick any other character, and you just battle royale. Oh, however many people you want. Oh, we have 4 people that all want to play? Okay, cool. 4-player, free for all. Everybody battle, and everybody has a unique deck, and they have their own decks, and they have their own criteria, and you just battle and do whatever you want. They have sets from all over the world. There's a Bruce Lee set that was like very, very rare and limited exclusive that you could only get at conventions and or for a limited time when Unmatched first came out. And they're bringing that one back in like a Muhammad Ali, Bruce Lee set. Like Unmatched is a great, huge gaming system. There's stuff from Jurassic Park. There's a lot of Marvel stuff. And stuff from mythology. They've got stuff from all over the gamut. It's very cool, and it's a fun game. It's a game I do enjoy, and frankly I don't get to the table enough, and I feel like the Ninja Turtles are going to be a way to do that. So that's to force me to do it at least. So it's a good excuse to get Unmatched back to the table. It's a super fun game system. I think you'll love it, especially if you've got more than 2 people that want to jump into a big old battle royale skirmish type game. It's very good for that as well. Moving forward, it's one of the reasons we have the Enterprise Bridge. Star Trek has a game coming out very, very soon. Star Trek Star Realms. This is coming out in October, so a lot of October releases in today's video. If you've ever played Star Wars, the deck building game, which I've been talking about recently, very, very fun game, largely inspired by Star Realms. However, Star Realms is probably one of the greatest deck building games of all time. I would say my number 2 deck builder of all time. With Dominion at the top, because Dominion kind of started it all. But Star Realms came in, it kept all of the same wonder that and the core mechanics that that a game like Dominion had. It changed it up a little bit, but it kept all of that deck building feel. And what I think is so great about Star Realms as a system, because as its core, it has 4 different colors, or 4 different factions that you can be buying from, and they synergize best with each other. So you might build a deck that's all red and with a little bit of yellow, and then they kind of work together, but the red cards really combo with other red cards, and it works well. And your opponent might do 2 other colors, or you might be fighting over the green a little bit. So there's that. And in Star Trek, they're kind of taking that same mentality and applying it to Star Trek factions, so Federation, Romulans, Klingon, and of course the Dominion, with a little bit of like Ferengi splashed in there as your kind of your generic 2 costs that are out there on the side. Very cool license to apply to Star Realms. I love the game Star Realms. Again, I've said it before, it's one of my favorite deck builders of all time. It may be the best deck builder of all time, potentially. I think there's a discussion to be had there. And one of the reasons why I like it so much more than the Star Wars deck building game, although the Star Wars deck building game is good, is that this one, they actually are building a deck. So I've often said that the Star Wars deck building game is more of a deck grower, because you have less choices. You can only buy your faction or the neutrals. You can't buy your opponent's faction, and you're also missing out on potentially 2 more factions if it were like Star Realms more appropriately. So Star Wars, the deck building game, is more of like, I don't even have to think about this, so I'm just going to play whatever the game decides to give to me. I have to buy whatever I can afford. I have to buy, and that's my deck. But Star Trek, Star Realms, is going to truly be a deck building experience where you are actually going to be crafting a deck, and you're going to have tough decisions to make, and you're going to be able to make a deck that feels like it's your own and battle somebody in a wonderful IP, one of my favorite IPs of all time, Star Trek. And it looks like it's a lot of TNG era graphics that are going to be in here, as well as a lot of other stuff. Again, I was just talking about the Decipher Star Trek game, one of my favorite card games from my childhood, from the 1990s, and getting another card game, even though this will be like a standalone set. Star Realms is a heavily expandable deck builder, and so hopefully this will do well enough to justify future expansions. I'm definitely looking forward to that. This is one of my most anticipated titles of the entire year coming out. And the funny thing is, I already have Star Realms, but I'd be eager to jump down into the table and play the exact same game with just a Star Trek skin over the top of it. Again, I don't know if it's going to have like all new cards to kind of make it different, or if it's just going to be a 1-for-1 reskin of Star Realms. I'm not sure if it'll have how much new stuff it'll have with it, or how expandable it will be. But either way, I'm eagerly looking forward to this title, and hopefully the Star Trek fans out there will be too. Again, this is going to be a good like 4th quarter for Star Trek fans, between Star Trek Into the Unknown and this. And there's also another deck building game that's coming out, I think by WizKids, that plays very differently. Be eager to look at that too, although I don't know if that's coming out 4th quarter or if that's being pushed back till 2025. I don't know what the release date on that one is too, but we'll talk about that one as that one gets closer as well. And our final title today, a true testament to canceled games that have had community support and have finally come back. Some people mentioned this in my previous videos, so I would be remiss if I did not talk about Heroscape. How many of you have played Heroscape, have been big fans of Heroscape, and if you've ever watched the Dice Tower, it's long been known that Tom Vassel's #1 game of all time was Heroscape. That's one of those games that was really big, really popular, and then kind of dropped off for years and years, and people kept it going. And we talked about this, I want to say in Gen Con 2021, when this was like Hasbro was trying to pick up Heroscape and launch it through, I think it was Hasbro Pulse or a similar, like their own crowdfunding source, and it brought back all of this like nostalgia, and there was a lot of hype behind it. I did an interview with one of the guys that was working on it. It's out there it's been out there for years, but they were launching it. They had like the glass case. They had all these painted miniatures, and they're like, no, it's only unpainted. Sorry, whereas everything from Heroscape was always pre-painted, and so Renegade, has picked up Heroscape because when it was being relaunched, years ago, it didn't fund, and so they ended up not making it. And I feel like there was a lot of development that went into that, and they just didn't get it over the finish line. So in comes Renegade Games to the rescue, has pushed Heroscape across the finish line, and they have not just a new core set, but tons of new content for Heroscape, as well as there are unpainted and painted versions. And like, how cool is that? So again, it's going to be a lot easier for places to make unpainted miniatures now. It's just the cost of doing business. Factories to do pre-painting increase costs, and there's limits to how much your average consumer is going to spend on a game, even if it is pre-painted, and costs a whole lot more for them to make, so thus their profit margins slimmer and all of that stuff. But the fact that they're giving you options, I think, is a really cool thing to do, and it's a bold move for a company. So I have to applaud Renegade Games for their efforts on Heroscape. While this hasn't been a game that I've played very much of, I know that Magic the Gathering kind of had their own version of it a couple years ago, and I played that once or twice. I know it's a fan favorite for so many people. And I love seeing all of the different expansions and all the different terrain kits and all of the different content they have for Heroscape. I think it's a very cool thing, and I think it was definitely worth talking about for some awesome gaming news. That's going to conclude episode number 2 of Awesome Gaming News. I want to hear what you guys think. Let me know some of your awesome gaming moments. This could be news as it applies to new releases, or from a manufacturer, or from your gaming community. Anything that's really stand out, happy, good time news, let me know down in the comments section below. You can also join our Discord. There's links in the video description below for our Discord channel, as well as different social media links and Patreon if you're interested in any of that. I want to thank you all so much for watching today. A big thanks to my patrons. You guys are absolutely out of this world and help make this whole channel possible. I will talk to you later. May the force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. The spice must flow. You can't take the sky from me. And always wash your socks.